Welcome to the Pharmacy Frontiers podcast. We're excited to come to you today with Dr. Bethany Baker. And let me remind everyone that the Pharmacy Frontiers podcast is available for streaming on your favorite podcast streaming app, whether it be Apple, Podbean, Spotify, or YouTube. The Pharmacy Frontiers podcast is a podcast dedicated to the pharmacy profession. The comments and opinions shared today are those of our hosts and our guests, are not official statements of the MPA, Mercy, Mitchell Pharmacy, nor ACHE, nor Children's Mercy. I'm Daniel Good. I'll serve as your co-host today along with Tim Mitchell. And today we welcome Dr. Bethany Baker, who is the Director of Clinical Pharmacy Services at Children's Mercy, Kansas City. Welcome, Bethany.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, we certainly are excited to have you with us, especially since you are the reigning 2025 Pharmacist of the Year for the Greater Kansas City Society.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we didn't know we were going to have, like royalty on the podcast. And when I sent the invitation, I thought, maybe I might hear from you. But so we want to thank you for being on. Sounds like, if you're getting this type of award, you're doing some really, really great things. And we appreciate you coming on to share some of those things. So we're excited to chat with you. Normally, I know a little bit about some, but I don't really know you. And so I'd like to kind of get to know a little bit more about Dr. Bethany Baker and kind of your story of how you got into pharmacy and all the different kind of steps that you've taken over the last, decade, I guess. So you want to kind of give us a little background about Bethany Baker?
Yeah, sure. So I tend to fly just slightly below the radar, which is where I like to keep it. So, so I'm not upset they didn't know of me. Wow. My pharmacy experience goes back to 2008, and I was a graduating senior, and I wanted to be a doctor. And I had heard that, in order to start building up your resume, it's best if you can find some kind of experience within a hospital. And so I come from Hamilton, Missouri, which is about an hour north of Kansas City, a very small town, like 1,800. And there's a Cameron Regional Medical Center about 20 minutes away. At the time, it was about 65 beds, I believe. And I looked everywhere. I was trying to find a hospital job. That was the hospital. What they had available was a pharmacy technician. And I did a phone interview with the director of pharmacy at the time, who was Steve Erickson. I don't know if you know him.
Know Steve very well.
Yep, he's a fireball. So
you'll never forget him.
Imagine that phone conversation. He hired me, and I spent my summer there. And, it's funny, I've been back. You don't realize what impact you've made when you don't know everything about pharmacy. But a few years later, they invited me to a holiday party, and I saw one of his sons, who was actually one of the picks at the time I was there. And he said, "Oh, Bethany Baker, she's the reason we have BCMA." And I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "Well, we're plugging in all those NDCs as part of your technician work. That was what that was for. You switched us over to BCMA." So had no idea. So I worked there for the summer. By the end of the summer, I wanted to do pharmacy. He is a great advocate for the profession, and he really just kind of opened my eyes up to the different opportunities. So I went to Missouri State, and my first stab at pharmacy leadership was really realizing that there was no pharmacy track at Missouri State. And it was really more tailored towards PAs and medical students. And my advisor was really pushing me in those directions. And I told Steve, "Hey, I really want to pursue pharmacy, but there's really not a ton of support in that regard." And so he said, "Well, why don't you start a pre-pharmacy society?" And so I found an advisor, and there was a couple people who were also interested and had already kind of started the process. And so I hopped on board with them, and I was the vice president of what is still going as the Pharmacy Pre-Pharmacy Society. So,
Cool.
It really opened my eyes to just leaning into opportunities and never say never, and, give things a shot. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, then at least you tried. So,
Right.
I had 2 technician jobs in school. I was working as a technician on campus at the Taylor Family Health and Wellness Center.
Hey, I worked there too.
Oh, you did? Oh,
Yeah.
small world.
Long before you, Bethany. This was back in the 80s.
So I worked there, and then I wanted to see I wanted to continue my hospital technician experience. So I got a job at Cox South Pharmacy inpatient. Made a lot of friends there, and got into pharmacy school in 2010, and went through pharmacy school. And again, it was the same situation. They needed a new president of the public health organization, and I said, yeah, I'd love to help. And
you're a new MKC grad, right?
Go Roos.
Go Roos, yeah.
And at that time, they wanted to bring back some of like the philanthropic stuff that they were doing and in other countries. So I had another experience where I was the youngest person. I think I was 20, and I was taking a bunch of students older than me to Peru, and we did a medical mission trip. And it was just another one of those things where it's you have to get out of your comfort zone, and don't underestimate not only your power to lead, but just everyone else's ability to say, yeah, let's do it with you. So we did 2 medical mission trips while I was in PHO. And, at that point I was an intern at CVS. So when I started pharmacy school, started out in retail, I wanted to get the full, I'd seen small hospital, large scale hospital, small retail. Now I wanted to see large scale retail. So I was at CVS, and then I decided to go back into hospital. I realized that's kind of where my passion was. And so I was a clinical intern at KU, and they had an administrative residency. And one of the residents kind of took me on as a mentee and taught me about the HSPAL residency. And I made the pivot at December. So, waiting till the 11th hour, to decide where I wanted to go. And I was accepted into VCU's PGY1 and PGY2 residency. That's Richmond, Virginia. And went there for 2 years. They also allowed me to get my MSHA while I was a resident there. So, and it's funny, I wasn't planning to come back to Missouri. I didn't even get licensed in Missouri when I graduated. I was just thinking, who knows what's out there? I was going all the way to the East Coast. I wanted to be where the action was. And for me, I thought that being close to DC would be like where that would be. And I got over there, and I loved the mentors I got from that experience. I loved my whole residency. Loved the opportunities. But once we got to the end, I was like, I just kind of missed that Midwest vibe. I miss going into a grocery store and somebody walking up to me in line and just starting to talk about the weather. And, and also I learned a lot about pharmacy. A lot of the moving and shaking actually comes from the Midwest. So if I wanted to be where the action was, I was surprised to learn it was actually back in my home state. So,
and guess what? You're one of the movers and shakers now.
That's not false. So I wanted to, the main place I wanted to work at was Children's Mercy. Going through school, I had friends who were interns and just loved their experience at Children's Mercy. They never had positions open, could never get my foot in the door there. And then miraculously, they had a new position, critical care pharmacy manager. And one of my passion areas was critical care in residency. So it was a perfect fit. I was in that role for about 3 years, and then I was promoted to the director of clinical pharmacy services, and now here I am.
It's amazing. Well, I can tell you, like I said, whenever I was printing off your CV, I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing is 6 pages long. And, you are very accomplished. And I think we are, going to be able to learn a lot from you. And I wish we had more than 25, 30 minutes here to talk, but, just hearing and I'm so glad you came back to the Midwest and what you said about, a lot of the kind of, I guess, groundbreaking things in pharmacy are occurring in the Midwest. I mean, Arkansas and Iowa and Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma. There's a lot of cool things happening in all these states. So you're part of it, and we're just so happy that you're here. So anyhow, Daniel, you got a question for Bethany? I know you're
with you. I grew up on the West Coast, going to University of Washington. I came out and did my master's residency there in Kansas, but and I thought the same thing, right? I need to be on the West Coast or the East Coast where all the action is and whatnot. But quickly learned, right, that the majority of the health system directors and chief pharmacy officers are coming out of Ohio State, Kansas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, those places. So there is quite a strong presence. And as Tim says, you are now part of that strong presence. And with much accomplishments comes much responsibility, right? So we're looking forward to what your career looks like as we move forward. But take me there a little bit. Now that you've completed your presidency time at Greater Kansas City, now you kind of jumped into the fray with ACHE, right? What kind of responsibilities do you have there?
Well, the reason I pursued ACHE is because, I had been involved in pharmacy-focused organizations for a long time, and I'm a very big proponent of perspective and really just of thinking outside of the box and looking at other professions to see how we can learn from them. And honestly, just that connectedness of healthcare in general, especially right now. And so ACHE allowed me that outlet to, collaborate with radiologists and people in supply chain or over nursing. And I feel like it's really made me a better leader, seeing that perspective of different disciplines. And so my responsibilities with ACHE is really for their local programming. So it's another thing that you will see. You will see a lot of more local philanthropic and organizational involvement on my CV. I really enjoy giving back in my own backyard. I think that's where I feel the most fulfilled. I'm not really great, in my opinion. I'm not really great on the national level making connections. I really want to make that connection of, oh, we went to the same high school, or I know somebody from, I like to make those connections. And so local programming was perfect for me in ACHE. It allows me to connect with people. I've worked at, a few different of the hospitals in the area. So learning, making connections in those hospitals, just learning about how they function and the struggles that different healthcare professions are going through right now. So I coordinate the local education and networking events that ACHE, Kansas City local programming does. So really, it's primarily working with the greater Kansas City area, but then I also have a co-chair from the Kansas side, which is actually unique to ACHE, having a combined Missouri-Kansas programming council. So it allows us to reach not only the greater Kansas City area, but Wichita, Topeka, and really help also accessing some of those rural areas who don't mind driving to Kansas City and really expanding our reach. So
I think whenever I was going to school at UMKC in Kansas City, it was very unique because it does have that connection with Kansas and Missouri. And so it kind of brings those two states together. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I think that's an important part about it. And I will extend the invitation as a Missouri Pharmacy Association member. We would love to have you to come to our conference this fall and experience what Missouri Pharmacy Association might have to offer, and maybe speak or something. But we'd love to meet you and connect with you sometime down the road. So we're going to switch topics just a little bit and kind of tell us a little bit about your personal life. You have, talk about your family. I guess you already talked about where you grew up, which is north of Kansas City. What's some hobbies and different things that you like to do?
So I kind of dabble in a lot of different things. I think I'm just kind of throwing things at the wall to see what sticks. At this point, I'm still kind of a new mom, and so it's kind of like is what is manageable when you have a toddler running around.
Sure.
I've always been involved in music. So, fun fact about me, I was in an a cappella group in undergrad, and then I was in a band during pharmacy school. I performed over 50 or 60 wedding songs. I'm pretty much a glorified wedding singer these days. I'm actually retired. I would like.
Start to say, maybe we have some entertainment for the Pharmacy Association.
I am retired. But I play piano and guitar, so I'm really hoping I can get back into that, especially as my daughter is showing a lot of interest in music, and try to pass that along to her. And she's my cheerleader. We'll be in the car and we'll be singing to the radio, and at the end, she'll clap for all of us. And so,
there you go. That's awesome.
It's the hype woman I've been looking for my whole life.
Yeah.
We just bought some land, and so I'm sitting in our dining room / sunroom because my office is still under construction. But we have chickens now.
Hey, you're a farmer.
I'm essentially a farmer.
There you go.
And then we planted some fruit trees down this hill. So I have a grove now. Officially, I looked into it. I think I, by definition, have a grove.
There you go.
So, I do a lot of baking, a lot of like canning. And so, I think just seeing where that takes me. I like to garden. So we have, put up 7 raised beds over here, and I'm actively killing about 10 different varieties of vegetables.
With all the rain that we've gotten here recently, I would assume that you can't kill it. I'm just telling you, Bethany, you can't kill it.
It's like they can't compensate. It was like, I need to adapt to all this rain. And then the rain disappeared overnight, and now it's 95-degree weather.
Yeah, true.
So anyways, those, I would say that, and just doing things with friends and family and raising my daughter. That's how I spend my spare time.
That's awesome. And your daughter, how old?
She'll be 2 in September.
Awesome. Yeah. So you're getting the walking around, learning more about all kinds of things going on. Yeah. It's going to be fun.
Outside digging in the garden with you, planting.
She loves it. She loves it so much. Yeah.
That's excellent. Tim jokes about the Missouri Pharmacy Association Fall Conference, but we have a large gala there where they do the installation of the new presidents. And then Jeremy is a member of the Crossroads band. I don't know if you've heard of them, but he's a pharmacist down in Farmington, but also lead singer for Crossroads. And he often is his band that's actually performing.
Oh, really? That's cool. Yeah.
So, hey, they may have an opening for an individual singer, so we can pull you in. And
at least that one night, right? A guest appearance?
I could do a guest appearance. I have been known to do some guest appearances.
So what's your favorite kind of music to sing?
Oh, gosh. I always go to my favorite karaoke songs. So my favorite karaoke song is I Want to Dance with Somebody. Okay. I really like any music that's going to be engaging. So things that the crowd is like, oh, I really hope I hear this song tonight. And I want to be the person that's like, here you go. You're welcome.
That's awesome. Well, I'm not a singer, but my wife is, and she was a vocal music instructor. And so she likes to pull me in, and we like to sing the song from Grease. It's called Summer Lovin'. Have you heard that?
Oh, yeah. It's a great
one. Yeah. And I don't do it the way John Travolta does it, but she does it very well. So I just kind of hang out, but anyhow,
complete with the stilettos and the cigarette, right?
Yeah. No.
Well, Tim, you and your wife are very much involved in some philanthropy and some mission work down south, and that kind of ties in with Bethany. You said you made 2 or 3 trips into the mission field.
Me, I did 2 mission trips, one to Peru and one to Ecuador. And in my pharmacy schooling days, and now, I'm really active in our community gardens, so that's primarily what I do now.
So not doing any traveling to other countries or anything like that. I was assuming that when you did that, you said they were medical missions.
Yeah, so it was
Checking
kind of
blood pressure.
it paired, the ability for us to, go and kind of be tourists on the side, but
Sure.
we worked with local medical groups, local outreach programs. So we went out into rural areas and helped do point of care testing for kids and adults. We worked in emergency rooms as like medical aides.
Oh, cool.
It was a quite a variety of opportunities that we got to do.
Very neat.
Very
That
cool.
is cool. That is very cool. So I know you've found a lot of time to volunteer. You're raising your child and trying to get your gardens going. What other things are interesting about Bethany? Now, don't give away the one thing we're going to talk about at the end yet. But I mean, I assume you're doing other types of things in your community there as well.
Yeah, I mentioned the community garden, so that's through Children's Mercy. So I'm on the board there, and we work to provide produce for food pantries and even some of our own patients at Children's Mercy.
That's amazing.
I really love it. We have donated thousands of pounds of produce to the community since we started, and we are constantly just trying to figure out how to grow and get more volunteers. And we even take students and like medical students, pharmacy students, just from like the areas. So, we're right there on Hospital Hill. So we have access to school of medicine, school of dentistry, school of nursing. So, and then
Pharmacy's there as well.
School of Pharmacy, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And actually, when I take students, I give them a heads up that they're going to be out in that garden at least once or twice.
So where is your garden? Is it there next to the universities, or?
Yeah, it's right across the street off of 22nd Street. It's the northern side of that.
I didn't even know that. Well, next time I'm up there, I'm gonna have to go check them out. So that's really cool.
Absolutely. And you're welcome to park and walk up there and look around. It's open to everyone.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Well, I guess we're kind of winding down. I don't know, Daniel, did you have any follow-up questions at all, or?
Well, this is good. Kim, you go with your wrap up. Yeah.
Well, so as you've listened to some of our prior podcasts, we talk a little bit briefly at the end about something about our guest that maybe not everybody will know. Now, you've already given us a lot of things that maybe not everybody will know. So I kind of feel bad asking the question again, but yeah, I mean, is there something you'd like to share, something else you'd like to share about Bethany that, we'd find interesting? I've found out all kinds of interesting things about you already. So,
I think I'm out of fun facts. I think there's nothing else fun about me. I'll leave you with this song. No, I'm just kidding. I do think one thing I'm passionate about that I think it's helpful for people to know is I do a lot with leadership development, and I do a lot. So like for the residency program this last year, I started a wellness. We have a leadership journal club, and I kind of converted it to more of like a leadership well-being rotation. It's longitudinal throughout the year, and we teach things like crucial conversations, adaptability, goal setting, and just strategic thinking, just things that are going to not only help residents succeed in the residency program, but also as people, and we try to tie in a lot of work-life balance and setting goals outside of work. And I think that's something that is so important for these incoming generations of pharmacists,
totally agree.
because,
Yeah.
Adaptability, things are changing so much faster than they used to. And I also think with the incoming, the Gen Z, they did a great job of teaching us work-life balance and the importance of that. The pandemic did a great job of making us, reassess what's important to us, right? And so now I think this next generation is, we've had the Gen Z that has called out, hey, we're all overworked, we're all burnt out. And then I think this next generation is going to be the ones who actually have the space to figure out what the balance is. Because I think in some regards, we've almost overcompensated into some of the life balance. And this is coming from somebody who hires a lot of pharmacists and interns and such.
Everybody wants to work from home now. Yeah.
And I think that there's going to be this great collaboration between doing advancing pharmacy with the balance that people are looking for. But, one of the reasons I get involved in local organizations is I see less, I feel like I'm seeing less involvement by the people around me. And I'm really just trying to promote the future of pharmacy. It's a really exciting time to be a pharmacist, and
I love it.
really trying to encourage people that yes, go find your work-life balance. It is so important. But then start looking for little ways that you can give back, little ways that you can push yourself a little bit, to go above and beyond, because I think that's what's going to be so important to just the future of the pharmacy profession and getting where our pharmacists want and need to be as we start seeing, AI change the landscape and more of the impacts of the healthcare system and reimbursement and all of that. So, I'm really passionate about that. And I try to work with a lot of students and residents and panel discussions and just trying to get people to learn more about just some of the different mindsets that you should have when going into pharmacy. So that's my little bit about me.
That's great advice. And that's probably better than telling me a fun fact about you, because that is so inspiring to hear what you just said. And for those of you that are listening that are maybe just starting your career in pharmacy, Dr. Baker would be a great person to connect with. I don't know if you can connect with every single person, but I do feel like people like your mind that have your mindset have a positive outlook on life, have a positive outlook on the profession. Despite all of the crazy things that are going on and the changes, there's always going to be those kind of things. And it's your own perspective that will make the determination of whether or not you're successful or not. And Bethany, I just want to tell you, thank you. You're an inspiration. I can't wait to meet you personally, face to face someday. We may come up and check out your garden and maybe have a discussion, and maybe we can grab some lunch or something. But I can tell you, I very much appreciate you being on today. Wish you nothing but the best. And like I said, the extension of the invitation to attend the Missouri Pharmacy Association meeting, we'd love to have you come and check us out. So Daniel, you want to tie us down here and get us moving?
Bethany, a lot of people talk about resilience, they talk about work-life balance, they talk about community involvement, but you really are a person of action, right? You got you're growing trees in the backyard, you're growing plants and harvesting at work, you are balancing your professional life while you're raising a great family. Yeah, you are a great role model for all of us. So thank you for doing that and doing that well. We really appreciate that.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that.
And on behalf of our listeners of the Pharmacy Frontiers podcast, thanks for being with us here today. We're going to ask our listeners to not only listen to this episode in the next couple of weeks, but go back and look at the other Pharmacy Frontier podcasts we have recorded that are available on their favorite streaming app. But until next time, it is a good day to be in pharmacy.